Oh yeah, 11:30 Sunday night. Surprise! Weren't expecting that one, was you? Let's see if anyone's awake. I've got a little bit of an announcement to give you. A test run for the night owls. I need some ears. Lend me your ears. Need some interlude just while I refresh. I'll share this. Thought I'd come in here instead of tube. See what go on. Just give it a minute. Take thee by storm. Hurricane David is in the house. Just share this. Might start a watch party. That's an idea. Here we go. Thank you. Yes, that's done. Bravo. Very quiet. It's very late. Let's see if there's anyone in. Is there anybody there? Shh. It's late. I got a surprise. I've had a bottle of Prosecco and some Cocoa Cthulhu's. Man's ready. Man's ready to reveal. Shh. Got some secrets. Do you want some? Who's in? Who's up? Show your face. James and Lisa, thank you. David DeSurry has been busy. I shall look tomorrow. Who we got? Say hello. I've got something to present. I don't know how articulate we'll be after 3/4 of bottle of Prosecco and some chocolate Cthulhu, Cocoa Cthulhu. That is one of the funniest things, that somebody Cocoa Cthulhu, just the face of it. Madness flavoured chocolate cereal with cyclopean marshmallows. Brilliant. Thank you, Kevin, for that. You are a true brother. Your humour and wit knows no boundaries. What we're saying, is anybody awake? Is anybody still up? I haven't got work tomorrow, so that's why I'm here. I cannot sleep. My brain is a busy place. All the meditation in the world cannot calm this soulful entity down, it seems. So I thought I'd come and read to you. Easy, Lisa. What? Nah then, sister. Me and thee. It's me and thee. Oh, I'm going to give you a test run. Thought I'd come in and see how many night hours we have. Yeah. It's about 5 pages. It's quite powerful. I need a test run. I'm not drunk. I'm a little bit warm. I don't drink. So 3/4 of a bottle of 12% Prosecco should have nailed me. But as you can hear, it hasn't. The only speech impediment is from the missing tooth. And I've just written this. So shall we start? Are you comfortable? You got your own personal show, sister. Me and thee for the next half an hour. Just after 12 bells, alright. 2,776 words. I'll be gentle. 6 pages. Who else we got? Anybody else in the house? Martin, easy. 2 of you. You have a select audience. Sovereign David, and I have some words for you, Martin, Lisa. I'd like to test out the text, the context and the subtext, alright? Let's go. Get yourself comfy, Martin. Get a pillow. It's going to be half an hour, 6 pages, 2,700 odd words. Art ye ready? Thank you for my proof listeners, my viewership, readership, listenership. Watch them boats. They're everywhere. What does it mean to be silent, says the man that speak too much. What does it mean? A form of quiet contemplation. Is it thinking upon things in searching one's own mind for answers to life's big questions? Or does this only indicate another type of noise? A subtlety of the ego to wax poetic about things which it cannot really ultimately comprehend. And so, man's mind in its silent anguish must disguise this fact by incessantly taking control of the silences, by enshrouding it with endless circular dialogue to maintain the illusion. Remember that man behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz? Shh. The illusion that one has at least a basic comprehension of this reality, based upon illogical proofs of sheer consistency and repetition of action. Ritualistic actions or thoughts prove nothing, except that an individual or collective group are willing to rotate their bodies and minds, RAM, right ascension, meridian, to create movements and notions that bring about a certain order. This then creates the required circumstances for the mind to then believe that it has things figured out, and that all of reality is comprised of the limits that are indeed confined within the circle of rotational cycles. All of that which is outside of the rotation is then considered to be foreign, mythological, delusional, inconceivable, plausible deniability, and poppycock. Thus, any who dared to quest beyond these confines and question the narrative, such as you, Lisa, and Brother Martin, are also considered delusional and possibly conspirational and even dangerous, not by I, not by the trust, not by the creator, but by the agents of X. It is easy to hear and repeat the things that are spoken about within this prison of walls of our current legal, religious and financial systems. Look how many trust experts we have going around the houses right now. Look how many legal and lawful masters, wizards have stepped out of the realm recently. Anyway, this maintains the collective ego and the safety net of the various cyclical cycles that we know about. Those who dare to venture outside of this system are seen as a dangerous threat. Okay, national security, GCHQ, the only department of the effing government that effing listens. MI5, all of you, what's up? Let's carry on. Let us take a look at the philosopher. The philosopher is the beginning of this threat, the free thinker, which is why Socrates, I would imagine, had to be sentenced to death. The mystic of the sage, you will have seen me saying sage of ages and sage of time, and I like the words title, a fixture, sage. The mystic or sage who delivers a different message across the ages. Shh, I know you'll get that, you two. It may be late, but you'll get the sage and the message, surely to goodness. Across the ages will also have to be crucified daily on their cross of fiction. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm sure you'll find out. The most dangerous element to the system of the circle of life, Mustafa, Simba, is silence, because in true silence one can listen to nothing and therefore you can hear everything. Shh, it's late, I told you to be careful. In silence, the circular narratives are seen for exactly what they are, shadows to be chased after, much like the Egyptian and the underworld, Isis, Osiris, Sept, Horus, the afterlife, the underworld, the nun. It fascinates me. It's in an endless, eternal loop, it seems. In silence, shh, you speak too much. Yeah, no. There can be instruction. In silence, the student, the disciple is ready. And the master, the apostle, will then appear. Only in silence will you get that connectivity. An individual or collective can indeed delude themselves, as we have got a lot of our family doing that right now, and in the public. I won't even tell you what happened today in Lidl there. into believing that there is somewhere to go in a circle. But as the journey unfolds, the journey, yes, Simba, and reaches its inevitable denouement, there will be the what? Denouement? Yeah, that's Denouement. Denouement. Ha ha ha, Francais. With these escargots, you are really spoiling us. Yes, I know. There will be the realization, well, at least to some, not to many, the penny. The thing is with common sense, it ain't all that common. It isn't all that common, sorry, ain't. There is nowhere to go. We have reached the end, which is just back at the beginning: birth, life, death, and rebirth. So the circle, the loop, the snake eating its tail, etc. This is what makes life a game, in our opinion. All games are loops, which is why they can be played over and over and over and over again. Sometimes they need 10 pences or 50p's, whatever it is. My day it was 10p at the arcade. The game exists. Fact, we're in it. The game of life. It is designed. It is designed. It has architecture. It really does. It has rules, real rules, immovable. I can't think of now. Something about fixed atomic structures, fixed rules, immovable. It has boundaries, as we have tried to show ye. Of course, within the game are the characters. There are some right characters out there. Some people out there with more sides to them than a 50p piece. Sorry if you're not in Anglo Britain, but you should know what a 50p piece is. They're very collectible. One went for £200 the other day, a 50p piece. Shh. So within the game, there are characters, playable and non-playable, team players, referees, and the audience. I would say look at Groundhog Day and Jumanji. Not because exclusively, there are other films, but players, non-playable characters in Jumanji, Groundhog Day. The players are given a side to be on, and the other side is the enemy's side. X, Satan, sin, debtor, defendant. You feel me, fam? And this is seen as real life. The, what do we call it? The divine comedy there, with thoughts and emotions that create notions of validity in regard to these feelings. Those who are in the game never want to think about, their emotions that may be invalid, because they are playing the game to win, no matter what the cost. Yesterday's icons and posts, playing the game to win. I was working on this yesterday as well. Finished it off today. Those that are in the game, they don't even want to believe that it is just a game. The noise of the game is so loud, and its fundamental premise is about getting the most goals or points. Groundhog Day, Jumanji, yes. All of life is a game of goals and a desire to attain those goals. Create a goal, chase it, win the points. Create another goal, chase it, win the points. Aggressively conquering opponents whom are your blood family in actuality. By completing enough of these self-fulfilled prophecies, one is then seen as potentially winning the game of life, lottery win, etc. It becomes games within games, the game of bones. Remember the Romans and their games and sayings, yes? These desires destroy the master, and the student seeks out their purpose in an endless pursuit of these goals, listening only to themselves or to others doing the same monotonous, actions, gambling their futures and health. The pupil then thus remains blind. Silence is impossible in a sea of noise. Silence only becomes possible when one sees reality, the game of life, for what it actually is. Begins to start and see the players, the referees, the bench, the judge, the audience, the agents, sees the rules and the boundaries and the circular, nature of the structure, the circle of life. Simba Musafa, the father, lost, claiming back the kingdom, sees that these are all just illusions and that one is simply chasing after their own shadow. Hence the SPL's workshops, the SMG, publications, chats, videos, courses, seminars, and giving a rat's ass. Attachments. You may have seen my post about the constitutional agreements there, and all persons, that be all persons, attached to the national debt through the constitutional agreements, and it's very serious that, okay? British Constitution Group, I'll wait for the answers on that one. So attachment, okay, is the ultimate weapon. That would be a good point there for persons, citizens, employees, debt, and bullshizing against the enemy of our houses. Attachment, why? It negates silence. Why? There is so much noise created with all of that monkey brain activity. Thyself becomes linked to attachment, obsessed and consumed by its very nature, requires choice, and therefore manifests polarity, which creates division in your bipolar realm. The vision becomes conflict and the internal struggle carries forward. Ultimate detachment can never make a choice of this person over that one, and is therefore able to empathise with everything. Can it be seen through this, then, that God, therefore, can never have a chosen people? Shh, anti-Semitic, shut up. Those caught in the noise of the larger game and their own smaller selfish games are unfortunately therefore unable ever to see this. Well, I won't say ever, but mostly if they don't change, they will be unable ever, forever, to see this, cognise this, and will therefore continue to ride the circle for all of time and chronos. The analogy holds true, and after all games are over, there is indeed a winner declared and a loser. Two sides become the unified parties in their agreement to have played it in the first place. They shake hands and thank each other in good sportsmanship for the competition. Ergo, God shakes hands with the devil. It is time to reset the board and begin another one, a different one, it seems. Now here we go, listen up, eyes down. The basis will be the same, but the theme will change. DJs taken off, the tracks flipped over, the scripts flipped over. A new world will have to be created. A new world will need to be born, and everything that is done must be done symbolically, as symbols are the language of the universe. And we have found that symbols will be the downfall of the Federation's empire. The big question to the attentive is why? Why all of this? Why the game? Why is there life and death? Why becomes the most fundamental question? It is a haunting question too, which is often dismissed as redundant or too complex to delve into by any who just want to get back to the all-important business of running in the circular human race. Ignorance is considered bliss in this instance and context. Cyclical mindsets, cyclical actions. This is how judgment operates along with its counterparts. Who are they? Exactly. Who are they? All right then. Prejudice, racism and choice. Not all exclusively, but some. Choice, ergo, is a pain, even or especially when the choices are not your own, as we are finding in present day, August 2020. Imagine the feeling of only ever being considered as a second choice or an alternative option. What's that? A second-class citizen is what I'm thinking of right now. Perhaps for many hearing this, it has been your experience. Perhaps that it has been your only experience within these previous statements. Are located profound truths for any scribes and scholars who have the ears indeed to hear it, as we're on live audio. In silence there is empathy, and within that silence there can be felt an overwhelming magnitude of pain within this world, within the earth itself, and within its inhabitants, animal and men, all consciousness and matter. The answer to this question of why is then found within this pain, because the pain that is here requires great healing, and healing indeed takes time. Time creates the circles and what could potentially be perceived as an endless work. It is unfortunate that the truth of this great work has been discovered by certain members within it and is used as an advantage for so-called personal gain and selfish ambitions. They see the healing process as being futile and have therefore relegated themselves to being a permanent fixtures or affixtures in this game of life. The truth has made them jaded and nihilistic. Nevertheless, the process continues because it must. In this, there is no choice. Just as within breathing, or with life and death, a breath in and out, life, then death, life, then death. Magnitude or volume creates an escalation of pain. Right now, we are seeing that to be true. This is mathematically obvious as well. The more minds that have pain, which is all minds in various degrees, the more pain is within this reality construct and present paradigm. That's the Prosecco. Larger numbers create more confusion, and out of that confusion there is eventually disorder. Okay, out of the disorder will come the without any control whatsoever within that disorder, there would inevitably be chaos, yes? And from that chaos, an ensuing forthcoming nightmare. There are those who ask how to be free of this system, like a lad today in a post about, if you look down in the group, you'll see a post there about if your post is not seen, you do not see your post and it is being vetted. Somebody in there asked a question and mentioned this, that's inspired this latter part of interjection of this document, this segue. So there are those of us asking how to be free of this system, and yet they bring more confusion into it. A blatant contradiction, if ever there was one. Those who have chosen not to add to the confusion, ergo, are further in alignment with this healing process, the pregnancy period before the 2025 alignment, zodiacal progression of the clock and the times and the planets. And Claudio, I need to get you with this and others and move forward. There is enormous, he can put the planets and the alignments and the processions and the conjunctions into place where I can't. There is enormous spiritual pain right now in moments of great transition. Security and assurance are constructs of repetition. When that continuity is therefore broken, there is doubt, there is fear, there is depression, there are suicides, crimes, anxiety, panic, and a host of other emotions that were always there, albeit slightly hidden. Just waiting they are to break through the surface at the slightest scratch against one's self-esteem and sense of security. The unknown becomes frightening because the barrier of the circle has now been broken. There becomes in these moments of uncertainty an ever-grating willingness to do whatever it takes to maintain the structure of those boundaries. If your name's Boris Johnson, he creates a world of shit and then walks away from it and leaves everybody else to deal with it. But shh, we won't talk about that political... boundaries which are labelled as normal. Normality becomes a prison, and the womb men, citizens confined within it, therefore sometimes mostly are willing to fight to protect its walls. Walls, sausages that gave them a continual sense of purpose and direction, even if it was only in a circle of repetition. Let's think about the walls of Jerusalem against the Romans and the battles and the tyranny. That comes to mind, the city of David, etc. This has also been called life. Life without protection, therefore, is vulnerable only in the sense that there is a threat to act upon that vulnerability. When there are no threats, life and one is free. When there are enemies and dangers and predators, misery, pestilence, heartache and sorrow, agents of doom, then there is a real requirement to be safeguarded. The compounding of this principle means that there can become so many dangers that one may need to outsource their protection, like you will have, you two and others have right now, and eventually become governance. Populaces from dividing walls and property lines are drawn, and the laws of protection accumulate as a rule. Therefore, the more protection or laws are codified, secular, Roman, public, statutory, the less freedom, until there is none. Whom quoted this? The more laws we have, the less freedom. In a simple analogy, ultimate trust is thus handed over to the selected governing authorities to deal with any and all external threats, foreign policy, Office of Foreign Relations, etc. And what is asked for in return? I hear you cry, say and cry, shy, come out then. From every individual is allegiance, compliance and consent required. A citizenry, yeah I know, I just thought, is that a word? I think so. May even be willing to give up their very souls for that protection. The biology, it seems, must be protected at all costs. That is the power of attachment. That indeed is the power of fear. When the populace has become so large, the external threats have become so dangerous as to create the potential for all sides to be annihilated, such as now with Corona, COVID, and other countries. Well, at this point, the authorities of each government see that there's a need to work together. Well, if you look at the world stage, you would think that would happen, but it actually isn't. So they do not, destroy each other in the process of this, or a cataclysmic hot war. Korea, Russia, China, USA, India. I'll leave it there, okay? These alliances create, for a time, an unprecedented measure of peace. If we was to have one, we haven't at the minute, but if we was to have one, we'd have an unprecedented measure of peace. However, resources are limited in any system, especially this one, and inevitably there will be a turn in the threat. The populace themselves become the rival, or the rivals, and instead of an external enemy, there will be the need to protect the world against the ever-growing, in-demanding internal adversary. Every peak is followed by a trough, or, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and troughs, however you say it. At this point, a Trojan horse of sorts may be necessary. A Trojan horse? I'll leave it there. Ponder upon that. The potential adversary is now regarded as being absolutely anyone. Look at it right now, as from Moon Day. Okay, this is what this cast is for what's happening tomorrow and what we're about to embark on. Therefore, the forms of protection will turn from the external to the internal. The circle must always complete itself. It will also be obvious that the forms of protection now offered are as unified as the actions of a single governing body, as opposed to separate ones. One world, one order. Since the rules will also be unified and mandatory regardless of so-called national borders. Okay, get ready. Are you seeing it? Any who do not now abide by the new restrictions to protect the greater good of the world public will also be seen as a threat. And threats are often eliminated from the equation. Why? As they pose a risk for too many other variables to occur. In this hypothesis, anyway, all of this is an easy sell, since the idea of the new normal must be reinstituted, reinstated and guarded no matter what measures need to be taken. It matters not what normal or new normal looks like at this point, only that the measures of protection are enforced for the good of everyone. Normal thus becomes despotic, since everything becomes Unitarian, and if everyone is collectivized, the notion of individual freedom is therefore ergo squashed. Duality becomes singularity, two visions become one. I'm not trying to scare you, this is how we see it, this is what's go on, and I'm using this for a promotion for the second tier of the Sovereign Masters Guild for splspro.com. I, Man David, of the House Jeremita, promise you security, safety, protection, knowledge and private accommodation. Alright, fact, roll on 21st of December 2020. Why? You'll find out. It's the beginning of a perfect vision. It's the beginning of a new world. The prophesied singularity, no less. After September, what was it now? 11 onwards, and the harbingers of death are to be considered as well, okay? Two becoming one, twin towers, singularity. The question to be asked now is, why is division always equated with freedom? Joy Division, remember them, eh? Shh, if you do, give yourself a shout out. because I do. The proof of this is devastatingly obvious. Create a world by destroying it, and within this equation, humanity itself becomes the ultimate paradox. It should really, truly be impossible that 1 equals 0, yet here we are. Within this equation are all the ingredients necessary to facilitate the experiencing of the ultimate limits of both pleasure and pain. Pain we see as the trade-off, since the pleasure seems to be worth the price. Nobody, it seems, is trying to protect pain or the things that cause it. Otherwise, what does healing even mean? What does pleasure mean without the comprehension of pain? It is this pleasure that is desiring to be protected, and there is a hefty price for this protection. And at some point, that price is going to need to be paid. All right, they're going to weigh in. But questions to be asked at this point would be, who is the one that has sent the bill? The bill, bill of the Gates variety. No, the bill is in cost. What is the price, and how is this hidden price tag supposed to be paid? Let's ask Jessie about that. It's all about the price tag and the money. If there is a continual compounding of pain, eventually there is going to be an emergency situation, everybody. Hello. In an emergency, if left unchecked and untended, the resulting consequences will be the demise of that which is in the state of needing urgent care and attention. Can I just let you ponder on that a moment? I'm not going to repeat that paragraph, but just have a moment. If you need to have a pause on that, do so. This is obvious on an individualistic level, but it does not seem to be very clear when related to the universal systems. If there is truly no separation between the source and its consequence, then the ending of pain must also be found at its beginning. The created will in turn meet their creator. Life must be followed by death, which is back to the starting point of life, the snake eating its tail. The principle of healing is characterized not by any cure absolute, but by continually going back to the point where the pain, wound, cut or disease initially began. Time, which is the healer, begins, and yet it also ends exactly at the same moment where it began. The snake in the tail and the head, and therefore becomes a paradox trapped within its own contingent affirmation. As we grow up, we find out the truth leads back to the birth certificate. When you're a baby, baby leads back to the beginning. When you're a man, you go back to being a child. Out of it's I like that bit. I need to expand on it a bit more work needed. Again, nowhere to go. Pain and pleasure, the wound and the healing are two present aspects of the same coin, and the one cannot happen or exist without the other. They are, I need other words for that, but they are intertwined and connected. It is the denial of this which creates continuity and the need for the circle and this eternal game. Not eternal flame, I said eternal game. Shh, your Bangles references. How then can anyone possibly be protected from destiny? Good Lord, you want a lot from me tonight at this time. We've now on the moon day, the 10th at 0004. Let's go on. Last page. How can then anyone possibly be protected from destiny? I hear you say. To outsource one's protection for scant surety with a temporal existence is a grandiose absurdity. Yes, I echo that. I hear what you're saying. I'll shout it out. Any who argue, enraged to defend that choice, are concealed from the fact that there is no protection from ultimates, no matter how many taxes are paid or guns are in your armoury. When presented with this denial, itself becomes the greatest protector. Knowledge becomes pain, and ignorance becomes bliss. Silence becomes truth. I want to give big love to KL and the universal forces of 113, 111, and divine nature. Man has received the message of ages. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Now enter the legacy of the golden crystals that can be created. Enter Aquarius. This is Sparta. Enter the 300,000 souls life requires to kickstart the new cycle of time and chronos. narrated by I, David, of the House Jeremita, on behalf of the Trust, splspro.com, and the future of our bloodlines and lineage. I yield. Finished. Oh, we've picked up Margaret along the way. Martin, Lisa, and Margaret. That was entitled A New World, A New Game of Life, Normal in 2020. It is very late. Thank you for joining me. I've spent some time on that. 6 pages, 2,700 and some words. That is my impression of the overall opinion on what go on right now and why. We will expand upon this further. This is going to be put into paper format, and you will be receiving an upload publication of this document very soon. Maybe some Taoism from G-Star and others may be put into it. It's raw, it's not finished. I'd like your comments on that, Martin, Lisa, and Margaret, Molly, whoever's there. And you rewind that if you didn't catch it all and have a listen and give me some comments later. I will download this and give it to Tube and let them have a listen so I don't have to say all that again. And thank you FB, SPLs, thank you Scribes of Indie and .com supporters, because the link will be put there. We'll work on this week along with other projects, and this will be for contemplation of those that just dismiss things. I don't know if that was dismissive folk and minds, then that would help expand on the inner workings, but it's not for everybody. A lot of people, that will go over the head. But I thought I'd give you that. I've given it you before, YouTube or the .com, alright. I just thought I'd come in and give you a midnight chirp. You're welcome, Lisa. Thank you, Margaret, Martin. I'll wait for the comments. I'll give you a wave and say ciao for now. Stay safe. Stay frosty. Stay loving. Stay self-governing. We'll see you soon, Bud and Moon. Ciao, bello.